She was a certain lady sitting on a certain bed in a certain way.
Who was she? Was she an actress?
No, she was not an actress.
Was she a harlot?
No, she was not a harlot.
Apologies. It was obvious that she was not a harlot. She was a polite person. She doesn't put her hands on her hips, and she doesn't smoke.
Well, she does put her hands on her hips, and she does smoke. Appearances can be deceiving. She was a certain lady sitting on a certain bed in a certain way. The flies butted heads in a cloud of fart. They dilly-dallied along the surface of the light bulb.
It was just a light bulb.
No, it was my light bulb. Listen carefully. You can hear the temperature of the glass saw. Hear the light bulb, the rascal, just hanging there tilted, craftily avoiding this vicious little shit show. The bulb's raunchy glow was evidently audible. The flies, perhaps, heard it too.
I was among these three men in the waiting room, perfectly harmless and malleable with a chance. The little bulb would light up above the door and it would read, occupied. Then two more men descend to shore.
Their bellies entered the room first. Their particularly ugly, corporate faces walked in behind them. There was some coffee in a beaker. The mocha pot was whistling. The bathroom door was slightly ajar. The white tiles had a reddish hue, crimson almost. A few of the tiles were shattered.
I was wrapped in polka dots. The fishnet stocking grazed one of my legs up to my thighs.
I sat on a chair, my chair.
Yes, this chair. It is a chair. It quivers as if it's in shock. It shakes from fear. It trembles as I put my hands near it. It even whispers when I face away. It purrs like a kitten and licks itself clean, but it is just a chair.
She was a certain lady sitting on a certain bed in a certain way. She was peacefully chaotic, a lively silliness. She was drowned in a thoughtless peace, an emptiness that I could envy. I saw her, 52 kilograms of her, combing a yard and some change of black hair with a hairbrush.
The hairbrush was her best teacher.
Well, at least, that is what the play suggests. I wouldn't know this tiny bit of detail. I, as a man, and especially as a poet, have been accused of fetishizing women.
The play, though, the one we're referencing, was written by a lady. She is sufficiently regarded and respected by you people yourselves.
I believe we can trust her. Well, anyways, coming back to my muse, she was a certain lady sitting on a certain bed in a certain way on the other side of the door.
Two flies butted head in a cloud fart. They dilly-dally on the surface of the light bulb. I don't suppose she knew of the flies. Maybe she did. But then again, I don't really know what was there. On her side of the room, I could only read her face. I did indeed read the cover. The pages, as it turns out, were misleading at times. An incense stick, smoked away, insidiously.
We flatter more than we educated men do.
I was once asked,
Always mincing words.
how does an incense stick
Clean
smoke
from explanation.
insidiously? My tiny bit of insight, to be fair, nothing that drawn out is ever innocent.
Indulging more jargon.
They say I'm good with dialogue.
Surprise, lady.
I've been hearing enough by
You
now,
bet
I
today
suppose.
will bring
I
a
ought
lot-
to be. What do you think, miss?
You're good with dialogues.
How would you know, miss? You are an ignorant woman. You flatter more than we educated men do. You're always mincing words, fleeing from explanations.
My learned friend, it is my experience that I've seen the educated, or at least academic people, indulging more in jargon.
You will be surprised, lady. People today will pay a lot of money and will go to great lengths to keep up with the impression that they are posh or cultured. You all are here not to see us. We are not the performance. You are all here simply keeping up with the image that you are sophisticated. This is not the stage. The bar, the staircase, the foyer outside, that is the stage where you all perform for each other. Speaking of incense sticks, there is a culpability there. Incense sticks are splintered by the sinister seduction of purity. They are graceful, virgin. The cold capricious smolder and the gradual interludes of char, ash, falling is similar to a leaky tap. Drop after drop, it leaves a tiny little speck on your forehead. The leaky tap, though, does not have a smell. The incense stick leaks an aroma. Fancy that! The incense stick can be construed as a leaky tap dripping rose water on your forehead. It is like torture that smells like flowers.
I was among these three men in the waiting room, perfectly harmless, malleable little gents. The tiny little bulb would light up above the door and it would read, "Occupied." A reddish hue, one could hear the temperature of the glass sword. Its wrenching glow was evidently audible. The flies, perhaps, heard it too. They began procreating. I suppose they were heat. At least the light bulb was.
The light was stupidly kind to her knees. Take it from me, the most foolproof way to objectify a human and be sure is to observe their knees. She was a certain lady sitting on a certain bed in a certain way. She was a brat, and yet she was sexy.
She had a feline face, eyes black like tar, a dimple at her chin, a dimple on her cheek, dimple on the small of her back, dimples everywhere.
She rested her chin on her knee. A tiny little scar lay there on her chin. It predated me. It came before me. The scar mimicked and silhouetted the shape of her lower lip. It gave her face a second, pesky little smile.
The lady began to look at me in a certain way.
Her head still resting on her knee. Take it from me, the most foolproof way to objectify a human and be sure is to observe their knees. The place where the knee meets the thigh and the shin. If that to you is aesthetically pleasing, then the rest of them will simply be sublime. Boom, I said it.
I was among at least three men in the waiting room, perfectly harmless, malleable little gents. The tiny little bulb would light up above the door and it would read, "Occupied." I couldn't light my cigarette.
One of the men grabbed my French press in their hands. Stop fiddling with the French press. It is a plunger, not your partner's nipples. I am preoccupied, not ignorant, you fools.
The men, they all looked towards the room. My hissy fit had made a nest indeed. Broken shards of ceramic plates scattered across the room. Fingerprints made of blackened coffee stain decorated the jagged edges. Spilled coffee ground piled up by my feet, and the incense stick smoked away. Do you know when a whale dies by the beach, they might bloat so much that they become dangerous to be near?
Why? Why would that be dangerous?
Because they might explode. But what a way to go, right? Death by whale bomb.
You fancy your strange ways of death all you want, but I would like to die peacefully in my sleep.
So, sleep then. I was tucked into the table, and I kissed my forehead and said, "Good night. May you have a sweet dream tonight." But I was worried. What if I don't have a sweet dream? What if I have nightmares? I wasn't sure that as long as they're by my side, I won't have nightmares. But this assurance gave me no peace. As one time I pretended to nod off into sleep, only to find myself abandoned moments after I closed my eyes. The night fades and my eyelids struggle to stay. And soon I nodded off and felt myself falling into a vat of liquid. No, it was honey, sticky and sweet. I had a sweet dream after all. I lift my fingers and let droplets of honey run through my hand and put my finger in my mouth. I want to taste all the flowery notes, the tanginess and fruitiness. But what I got instead was foul, a stench like no other, like canned fish left under the sun or bloated whale by the beach.
I couldn't light my cigarette. I held it gingerly over the ashtray that was kept on the table. Yes, this table. It is a table. It is moving, but it is just a table. I don't like my own stuff that much, by the way. As a matter of fact, I cannot even remember what I wrote a week ago. All I am concerned with is finding the next bloody scribble. If I don't get the next line, I don't act right. I feel sick. The next line, as horrible as it might be to you fancy folk, to me is a minor sense of style, a gracefulness left in all of your rubbish. Vashishth, I was called from the other side of the door. No, she does not use my last name. She uses my first. This was simply an elation. Perhaps they shall discover the poet I am someday. I suppose all of you by now have figured out that she is the incense stick. She is also my muse. And she is the lady sitting on the bed. The waiting room in general is my life at the moment as it is. I sit here waiting to be discovered. The two of us were the flies.
I don't know what I am. Happy is such a pesky little word, I told her. I have to go to the bathroom. She skedaddled off her bed, leaving behind another set of wrinkles she would come back again.
I don't know what I am. I need to pee. The two of us summed up the human race.